Awesome. And we will be covering AWS Solution Architect Associate Level Certification SAAC03.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So, hey everyone, I'm Ankit Asida, and today I will share what actually works, not just most people think it's about services. Try to focus on this definition and everything, the way where they move backwards. So, we will be focusing on the tips and to clear it in a healthy way. Yeah, sir.
Great. AWS Certified Solution Architect is the certification. So he has done 55 plus certifications. In addition to AWS certification, he has done certifications on Oracle, on Microsoft. And today we will be focusing on one of the most trending certification. AWS Cloud is a very popular platform. Becoming an AWS Solution Architect, this certification, which we will be discussing, is a real asset in any profile working in solution or software industry. I am Tarun. I have authored various books on cloud native architecture and microservices. Have worked in Java domain and have been working in big enterprises, including Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP. And I'm hosting this session, and Ankit will walk all of us through the roadmap for AWS Certified Solution Architect. Go ahead, Ankit.
Sure. Thank you, Tanu. Thank you. So, basically, coming to strategies, the first of our strategy should be to get the curriculum of that. The curriculum is long, I agree with that, and the courses, don't be afraid of that. So, what I suggest is rather than thinking about services, think about the architecture decisions. Try to think why this architecture decision is being used. Always try to focus on like how it can be highly available, how it can be highly consistent. If you keep this points in your mind, it will be very easy for you to please understand what.
One question you mentioned about CAP theorem. So can you also share what is CAP theorem?
Sure. So CAP theorem is a part of a distributed system. CAP, which is CAP, stands for consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. The main thing is in distributive system, we cannot achieve three. So coming to consistency and availability and partition tolerance, consistency to availability. When coming to availability, every time I give me a response. Suppose there is a network failure. The system, we should always focus on availability. We should focus on cost optimizations. Cost optimization is the most important thing. Let's take an example if I'm doing serverless architecture. So for any service, what we always make sure it should always, if any network failure or any system issue, we should always have a failover policy. Now, also there was some outage of DynamoDB, you should always focus on fault tolerance and make sure the application is always resilient and it sure. So AWS pricing calculator gives you a detailed summary of the resources, CloudWatch, EC2, or any of them. Then I will get an estimated cost. Coming to Fargate and Lambda, the next point is Lambda. Lambda is
great. What's the key difference between Lambda and Fargate? Great.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, coming to Elastic Compute Cloud, it your virtual server to run applications. 3 is simple storage server. RDS is relation to VPC to regular cloud environments. It will only give read access, not write access. ELB is Elastic Load Balancing. CloudWatch.
Should we learn about all of them?
So for 200 services, I would not suggest you go through public documentation at the initial stage. I'm not suggesting to never go to them, but for initial stage, at least you should know what each service do. Like here we can see there are only 8 services, but I should be aware what SNS do. Like it used to send me a notification. One line of definition for every services which is in AWS is more than important. And nowadays everyone is talking about AI and everything. So try to focus on Bedrock, SageMaker, what it does, which will be fruitful, like learning the concept and framing out well, or what I can say, well framed up.
Great. So yeah, this sounds a great strategy that we should first focus on these 10 services, the 8 which is mentioned here, and then SageMaker and Bedrock, because now AI is getting used heavily and this has become very important. Great. Perfect. So let's move on This is a great introduction about the services and how you should focus your preparation. Great. Go ahead.
First of all, if we can say tips and tricks and the mindset is never try to be frustrated. If you're not able to learn the thing on the one day, try to analyze the thing on the second day or the third day. Because every tree grows from a seed only. So it takes some time. So AWS exam is all about choosing the right services for the right scenario. If you are aware of like decoupling, what decoupling does, you should be focusing on SQS. If I'm like thinking about dead letter queue is coming into my scenario, SQS is the only option. If I'm thinking like my requests are going through like it, like there is a high latency, and I might be focusing on CloudFront. This active word scenario, what I'm judging and how I am telling is just one liner definition and the use case what I learned during of all the 200 plus AWS. If I'm thinking of REST API, I should not be thinking like where CloudFront run my APIs. CloudFront is not used for API. Lambda is used for running the API. So that key difference and at least our knowledge of each and every service. Suppose there are 200 services. In a month, we have 30 days. If we learn two services also per day, it's 60. In 3 months, we'll be a champion on that. And then 3 months will be compounding you for every of the AWS services or every of the AWS certifications what we're attempting in the future. Because all SCU certificates try to test your capability on the well-framed architecture, cost optimization, and fault tolerant that I told in the way. So try to, rather than taking everything in your bucket at the same day, try to fill a small thing in your bucket. That will be a like, compounding your knowledge also.
Great. So what is AWS well architected framework?
So for AWS well architected framework, what I can like suggest in the way is, give me a minute, I'm just lagging my system. Audible here?
Yeah, you are audible. Continue. You can continue.
Yeah. So AWS well architect framework, like coming from SACU point of view, SACU point of view, consists of 6 pillars, which is security, operation excellence, reliability, performance, cost optimization, and sustainability. These 6 pillars sums up to be AWS well architect framework. So first of all, for any of the environment what we are using that we discussed over the first or second slide, security is most important. We should be focusing on IAM and everything, so that there is no like avoid against the unintentional deletion of any of them. Because like I gave the example of them when we work in the organization. So it should be highly secure. Operation excellence is there should be automation. I should not be like if my application requires 500 EC2, I should not be manually sitting and deploying this 500 EC2 in a day. Rather than I should be building an automation CI/CD pipeline. The third thing, when I'm building the 500 EC2 instance, I should have my environment label also. And the fourth thing, it should be like performance, like 500 EC2 instance. If I'm running in any of the application, let's say example of mobile gaming application, it should give me a performance efficiency also. Like if we are playing PUBG or anything, like there should be a high performance rather than lagging or anything. And on the other hand, cost optimization should be there. I should like AWS offers a wide range of servers, so I should be intelligent enough to choose the server as per my requirements. So cost efficiency comes in. The sixth is sustainability. Like I should not be what I can say working or seeing my EC2 instance, how are they working today or anything. It should be like what I can say, sustained enough to serve the load and to provide a better customer experience to my customer.
Great. Perfect. So just I'm recapping what all tips we have covered. So first thing is we should, before answering any question, think of gap theorem. And then we should always think about cost optimization. We should consider or we should be familiar with using AWS pricing calculator. And that's very important for checking about costs and comparing various options. We should familiarize ourselves with the core services of AWS, for example, EC2, S3, RDS, VPC, and various others. Always focus on most important services, and because there are 200 AWS services, so learning or going through all of them in detail is almost not possible. So better to focus on the major ones or the popular
Exactly.
ones. These days, AI services, which are like Bedrock and SageMakers, are becoming popular. So we should also cover them, and we should focus on understanding concepts as mentioned in this slide, that concepts are more important than your memorization. And all the questions are very practical questions. They are scenario based questions, so we have to read the question very carefully, and then we should consider the constraints are the most important, and based on that we can eliminate wrong answers, and then practice on some small project. So probably this we have yet to cover, that okay, some hands-on project is also very important. So if you have done some simple project, not very complicated
Yes.
one, that will be very helpful. So this I learned from the previous session by Ankit also. And then we should master AWS architected framework. This will also help in path to success for AWS associate level solution architect certification. Great. Now I have one question. What visualization tool or diagramming, how do you visualize the architecture? What are the best practices? And if you can guide our viewers about what they can do to sketch the architecture.
Yeah. So coming to architecture, suppose let's take an example. If you give me a task, Arun, suppose I need to get I need to get a OTP when I'm entering any details for my credit card or debit. So once I get this, I have this problem in my mind. I need to think OTP means a notification.
Okay.
Notifications means sending notifications. How OTP will be triggered when I enter something. So when I enter something, it means something will be recorded in the database. From database, it should be a event bridge, which might be triggering SNS. So this is how the architecture is being framed. So yeah.
Great. Awesome. So what you recommend are people who are preparing, they should draw this on pen and paper or whiteboard, or yes. Okay.
Pen and paper is the most important thing. Even I, as of now, also I make what I do is I watch the video over Saturday. I make notes on Saturday. I did not. Like what I guess I did not. But I don't learn anything on the Saturday. I only simply my target is to complete 5 hours of video. The next day when Sunday comes, I don't open my laptop. I simply do a pen and paper. Try to revise my notes. That gives me a compounding of my knowledge. If I'm stuck in a topic, suppose yesterday I read BPC, I'm not able to understand my note, I will go again and see the BPC. So that it gives me a clear picture and saves my time. Rather than if I'm like we all are humans, if I'm watching video and making note at the same time, phone is there with me. I will be scrolling Insta reels. So that it distracts my time.
So are we allowed to carry pen and paper in the exam?
No, no, I don't think no because I never carry it.
Okay. Okay. You have to also visualize them in the mind. Okay.
Correct.
Great. So
And
yeah.
then that visualization will only come once you revise your notes multiple times. Right. Thinking I completed video of 27 hours and going to exam, it's not a recommended way. I don't recommend this type of.
Awesome. So yeah, this is a great tip that okay, whenever you are studying either through reading online content or through watching videos, have a practice of drawing the diagrams in pen and paper. So if you make a habit of drawing the diagrams in pen and paper during the exam, visualizing these diagrams or system architecture will come with intuition to you, and you will be able to think very structurally and eliminate wrong answers and come to the correct choices. Great.
Correct.
Perfect. So let's talk about pattern recognition and architectural judgment. Go ahead.
For pattern recognition for associate exam is at least for what I would suggest is at least give 2 or 3 test series. That will help your mind to develop a pattern and to eliminate the option and to focus on the right thing in the exam and to save your time also. So associate exam generally is 65 questions. Concentrating your 6 question on 65 minds is 65 questions is very tough. So at least try to have a speed also because even if we are giving competition exam, it's recommended to go for multiple test series. Just one more thing I will tell you, even if you fail in the test, the result is waiting you on your computer. Don't feel disheartened, don't feel like low confidence. Try to think in a mind, like try to think in a way like next time you clear the exam or next time you get the more marks in your testing. So and try to always analyze your mistake. What I used to do is for pattern recognition, what I used to do is even if I like somehow gave the correct answer in testing, I used to read the explanation, whether my thinking and the testees who made this thinking are being aligned in the same way. Like it can be somewhere it's a hit and try also, I corrected. But I need to clear also whether we are thinking in the same way because that helps me to clear or to judge the option and to evaluate the option more frequently. For architecture judgment, this is a try to read n number of questions, try to give mock exam, try to give practice exam, and try to think whether the explanation given in the documentation or in the test series aligns with your thinking. Because this game is all of how your mind thinks at that point. And for your mind thinking, you should be aware how you need to judge or how you need to recognize the question and to eliminate the option.
Okay, great. So, what are the most important patterns that we should recall? Maybe if you can give some example of the patterns, then our viewers will be able to connect it better.
So coming to patterns, you should be always focusing on the, what I can say, cost. That is more important. You should be focusing on latency. You should be focusing on failures. That's the three important patterns that is being designed. And also you might be focusing on these six pillars, what I wrote in the.
Perfect, perfect. So, what is this architectural judgment all about? So, we
So,
have something about blast
for
radius.
this, if you, for this, it happens that two options are technically correct. So, if you remember in the beginning, I told an example of lambda and Fargate. Both of them are correct in the serverless. The only thing I need to focus which is cost effective. So, that helps me to judge architecture judgment. Architecture judgment, as the word suggests, you should be building the best cost effective architecture for your firm or your organization. So for building the best architecture, you should be focusing on the cost. That is the most important.
Okay, great. Sure. Yeah, as we have mentioned in this slide, cost, complexity, blast radius, and trade-offs. So these are the important criteria that we should think about. Cool. So let's move on further. Just in the meantime, let me check if there is any further queries. Great. So no worries. We can move to the next slide. Yeah, go ahead.
So for designing, like next slide, like for professional, this is what I can say the toughest exam in the industry. But for professional also, you should be focusing on the mood and the building blocks what we have studied in the associate exam. That will only come once you have deployed or you have built the application through a pen or paper or you have done a multiple hands-on. Because professional is something which will judge your capability and which will, what I can say, make your mind to think beyond this threshold and beyond it boundaries. It's a toughest exam. I'm not just warning, I'm just giving it like what I can say, a friendly advice because I have given this and I was literally amazed at the portion structure and how they are focusing on architecture, security, and at the same time they're focusing on networking and everything. So this is something once you have a high hands-on or have a high, what I can say, confidence on the associate exam and you have a like you have built your notes in a way that even if anyone asks me while I'm walking on the way, what is easy, I can tell. So then professional will be very easy for you. But you should not be in a way like if I've given the associate, like after 1 year I will study this. Then it will take 6 more months to revise the note and to give the professional.
Okay. Yeah, if you can start by sharing, what is difference between associate and professional? So what is the difficulty level difference? If I say associate is 1 with respect to difficulty, then what would you say for professional? 2, 3, 5? If you quantify, that would also be great.
So for SA C03, which is associate, I would suggest it's a medium level certification. For SAP C02, which is professional, is very high. Difficulty is very high. because the length of the question is high and the length of question is more higher than that. So you should be focusing, your mind should be having that eye-catching power. That even if they are giving me 10 scenarios in the question, if I find a word which is latency, I need to read the question, find the single keyword which is cloud, take the answer and go ahead. So that portion itself gives brain your what ask your mind to think 10 architecture or 10 services in the same application and which will be cost efficient, which will be highly secure, which will follow the six rules. So that is the level. So it rather than it focuses on a single application, it gives you a multi-level architecture on the same portion. That's a difficulty. And one more thing, there are 75 questions. So like sometimes it happens that human mind is not able to concentrate for 3 hours straight on the screen. So try to train your mind because in that exam the focus is more important.
Great.
So one in a simple term, what I can say, SAA tells you which service I need to use. SAP, which is professional, asks you for a complete system design of that.
Okay. Great. So yeah, as we have mentioned that for professional level certification, we should be able to design complex architectures that can span multiple services, accounts, and regions. And then we should have a complete or thorough understanding of various trade-offs. And we should be able to design different hybrid cloud, and there are something mentioned about direct connect, VPNs.
Direct connect, transit gateway, that comes in the networking part of it. So
Oh,
that's what I was saying. Solution architect professor in this, the questions are not a paragraph, it's an essay. It's a complete essay of the questions. Yeah.
okay. And what is 6 hours? What 6 hours of moving workload?
6 hours of moving workload, what I can say is basically the main thing, always focus on the high availability architecture, resilient and security focus. That's the most important thing. So, and testing and everything. So that will be coming into this only 6 hours of moving architecture of AWS.
Okay, great. Yeah, so just I will list them out. It is rehost, replatform, refactor, rebuild, retire, and retain. So this is
So these are basically the migrations and everything what happens in AWS. Suppose if you are migrating your what I guess a database or your data from your local to the cloud, so these 6 hour workloads will be helpful on that point of view.
great, great. Yeah, so this is about migration or modernization of your applications which are running on the cloud. Great. Then we have multi-account strategy, organizations, SCPs. So if you can just explain about multi-account strategies.
Yeah. So coming to multi-account strategy, suppose if I'm building a high available application, I should not be deploying anything directly in the prod. That's not recommended also. For testing also, I will be using a test, UAT and a prod environment. So here comes SCP. So SCP is something which is at the organizational level. If I'm deploying anything, I should not directly go to deploy anything in the pod. So at that time, I can restrict my user to use the SCP, and I should get a error. It's a service denied on your own. So if you are a developer or if you are an architect working on your test, your focus should be on test, and it's the main responsibility of the account admin to give you a proper organization. And your organization should be secured by your account admin only, rather than giving admin role to everyone in the organization. That is what I can say. Like it's a very bad practice in the industry also. Everything security is itself is a priority. It's a high priority.
Great. Awesome. What is account vending?
So account vending and the central logging, what I can say is once you are like deploying any of the application, let's take an example what I told earlier. So account vending is like what I can say multi-account startup. Like it's a backbone of multi-account systems. So automatically when new accounts are created with a predefined configuration, it should always be inheriting the properties of security, networking policy, etc. So that is the account vending. Centralized logging should be something, if anything happens in my other account, I should also get a centralized logging, whether it's a Grafana or a Prometheus. Grafana will give you a dashboard and Prometheus will be logged. So centralized logging depends on there are n number of tools in the market, so you can use them.
Awesome. Great. So this is about professional level certification, and it has explained it very well about what should be the focus of this exam, professional certification, and how thoroughly you should study and what all topics you should master to cover this AWS Solution Architect professional level certification. Start with associate level, and then once you are fully confident, in few months, wait a lot, because then you would have to revise all the concepts of associate level certification. So if you are in touch, try to master as early as possible and appear for professional level certification. Perfect.
My suggestion would be, if you give the associate exam today, try to get professional next 6 months. That will give you a high advantage of others who are preparing for this.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, let's also now talk about time management. So yes, Ankit is, I would say, the master of time management, because he has utilized his time, within the first 4 years of his career, he has cleared so many certifications. Now he can focus on doing more practical real world projects and take his expertise to the next level. So yeah, Ankit, share for our viewers some of the time management strategies.
For time management, you should be what I can say, the most important time management strategy, what I would suggest is, try to utilize some hours on the weekend. 2 or 3 hours is more than enough on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday. And if you're going for a party or anything, spending time with friends in evening, try to utilize your afternoon. So that way you will be enjoying both of the things. That's what I do. And other thing for time management also, if this is done, this is a part one. For other thing, you should be giving a number of studies so that you are aware of the time pressure. When the clock runs in front of your screen, you should be aware how the clock pressure affects mind and how your thinking availability goes. So that will be coming once you get that multiple test rates. So these two will be easily available. These two will be easily available for you, or it will help you to judge a proper time also. Even if you are traveling also, or sometime what I do is, if I'm traveling over a flight or anything, that's a complete boring 2 hours or 3 hours. I carry my notebook, at least I will give 30 minutes to myself. The rest 1.5 hours I can sleep over the phone. That's how I manage it.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. So let me rephrase what Ankit has advised. So you should have 3 hours study time on the weekends. Even if you are partying, study in the afternoon, he's suggesting, so that you don't miss out on your milestones. Even if you are traveling, carry the notebook, and while you are on the go, you can revise your notes, practice case studies or test series, which are nowadays very easily available in Udemy or through various other learning platforms. And consistency is important. So these are some of the best practices. Awesome.
So for last 4 years I cleared the certifications, I never miss any of my friend wedding. I never miss any of my friend party or any of my family function. That's how I manage the time on that point also.
The study schedule you follow is 3 hours on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday, like that?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, maximum.
Okay. So yes, this is the proven strategy. And if you are effectively studying, focusing, then 3 hours is good, right?
Yeah.
So how do you focus? So while you are studying about the examination, so you go in some quiet place, or what is the right strategy to build your focus and be undistracted to various other happenings? Yes.
So I don't go to quiet place. Basically, what I do is I give my mind a target, first 45 minutes I will study. Then once I'm done with 45 minutes, I will use my phone, try to scroll video or watch any video for next 15 minutes. So that is done for a 1 hour. Was continuous for 3 years. I am not sure if anyone can study. There are many of the videos or anything. I am not sure how they study, but I cannot do. So I give my mind a rest space also, so that mind is not overpressured at that point.
Okay.
And once I'm done with 3 hours with following this strategy, I go for it, or what I can say, short or on bike or car. So that gives me a complete relaxation.
Okay, nice. So yeah, you can divide your study time into 3 slots, 1 hour, 1 hour each. and you can take breaks in between. Correct? Awesome.
And after that, you can go to gym. Going to gym is the best exercise for your mind also. So that is the most refreshing thing what I can do.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Yeah. So physical fitness is very important. And if you are working out, then your mind will also work fast and you will be
Right.
energetic, which is what is required because I see you have to answer every question in less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So for these certification, associate level and professional level certification, what is the total time? Is it 3 hours?
If I remember, it is for professional 3 hours, 15 minutes, 20 minutes is there. I'm sure for that.
Okay,
Might be there some change or anything. Associate also it's something like this only, 115 minutes or like it's more than 2 hours, I'm sure. For
sure.
associate, I haven't given like last 1 year. Like, I gave last in 2024.
Awesome, awesome. Great. So yeah, it's more than 2.5 hours, almost around 3 hours.
Yeah.
So definitely you need a lot of stamina to continuously work out on each of these questions, and you have to consistently solve them in less than 3 minutes. Awesome.
And that's why I don't remember time because I always get my mind like it's 2 hours only. So if I'm like seeing actual value of the time, I will like give my mind a relaxation. So I pressurize my mind on that point also.
Awesome, awesome. Right. Yeah, that's a great strategy that you should always keep some buffer. Try to finish the exam in advance. So if you can solve all these questions a little bit earlier, that is better because then you can revise some of the questions, or if some hard questions you have skipped, then you can come back to them and solve them with more time and focus.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, no, I'm just looking into some of the key points. Like, okay, every question is a paragraph. It's like a mini case study. And
Yeah, exactly only.
yes, we have talked about the cost effectiveness. Yeah, that's the most important thing. No doubt, this is what is cared most in any business. All business is about to means is all about earning profits, and that can be reduced by profit can be increased by reducing the cost. So that's why this is very important. Read the qualifiers in the question stamp before scanning answers. So yeah, if you can talk about this point, what are the different question types and what is this qualifiers in the question?
So qualify here means a keyword only.
Okay.
So you should be focusing on the keyword and what this question is asking. If the question is majorly focused on latency, I should be focusing on CloudFront. If the question is focusing me on PII, then I should be focusing on AWS MACIE. So that is the most important service for PII. If the question is asking me to convert from speech to text, I should be focusing on the service which is used to do this. So that is the qualifier quantified here.
Okay. Okay. Great. Awesome. Then we see that, okay, the certification exams are all about testing your judgment. It's not about testing your memory. This is very well said. And then you should carefully analyze every option. Don't pattern match to the first plausible answer, and have a habit of reading documentations, white papers, develop architectural thinking. Yeah, these are some of the great tips. We have covered them all in detail. So let's move on to some of the common mistakes.
Yeah, first of all, relying on dumps is not what I can say recommended way. There are a number of dumps available in the market also, but dumps are not their third party only. So rather than focusing on or wasting your money on dumps, try to focus on the testing. Yeah. So never skip the hands-on. Try to build the application. At least try to do small projects. Then you will understand application use case. Understanding exam difficulty will be through your test is only what you are giving for that particular exam. Attempting pro without fundamentals, that's what I said. First go for associate, then within 6 months go for pro. That will give you a compounding knowledge at that point of time.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so most of these we have covered. First thing is there's no shortcut. No memorization can help you. And hands-on practice is very much important. Just reading theory will not help you. because
Correct.
it's all about architectural decision. Then the exams are hard, so don't take it lightly. Be serious with your study plan and manage your time accordingly.
Exams are hard, exams are costly also. Yeah. A cost of certification is very high as of now.
Okay, awesome. Correct. So how did you manage? I saw no, you have 55 certification. I think every it means it's costing $200 at least. That's
For when I was in Amazon, I used to get a voucher.
okay. Okay.
And many of the organizations provide. Even I have some of my friends who are working in some of the other organizations. Their organization provides.
Great, great. So overall, your expenditure was around like 2.5 lakhs per year, or almost like
Correct.
$2,500. Okay. Yeah, I
Out
think
of which my pocket was a zero only.
okay, okay. Great. Yeah. So for people who have their employers willing to sponsor you, then that's not a problem. But yes, otherwise you have to really be very careful about spending your attempts, because each of them will cost you almost like $200, around 20,000 Indian rupees. Great. So let's move on to next slide. So this is about the study plan. So any comments on this?
Yeah, that's what, like 4 to 6 weeks is good. According to my strategy, what I also told, like weekends, every weekend, 3 hours, that will sum up to 4 weeks. So within 1 month, you will be confident on the services. The next 2 weeks, you can spend on the test series, and the third week, you can give the exam. And for professional, you need to revise the others, like a certification what you have done, which is the previous one. So for 1 week, it can be done for that. And at least give 3 to 4 weeks for test series. 9th or 10th week, you can give the exam.
Okay. So 3 to 4 test series we should give before.
Yeah, correct. Because that timer is something what we need to focus on that, because that running time clock is something which creates a pressure in.
Great. Yeah, as you also advised in the last session that when you give these practice exams, this will uncover some areas which you might not have covered. So this also gives a good idea about how are you prepared, and this is also part of the learning. Awesome.
Correct.
So in hands-on, we discussed that, okay, we should practice using AWS Skill Builder. That's one option. And then we talked about how effectively we can study through architectural diagrams. Awesome. So yeah, go ahead to the next slide.
So some of what I observed is like as once you are going to that SSQ certification, even if the company asks or the organization asks you about the question, everything, you are aware of the service. So the first point clearly rectifies or clearly explains that. You will have a more opportunities. You will be standing out of the crowd because you have the knowledge of. So you put that eight.
Yes.
And like a higher salary potential will be there, but that can be in initial phase also, or that can be once you switches from one organization to other, because you will be having a knowledge of the cloud environment. Everything as of now runs on cloud. Architect is something what everyone talks about. Cost effective. How well are you framing the architecture with others in the organization? And like freelance, like it will give you independent work, advisory engagements becomes more realistic.
Awesome. Great. Yes, very rightly said that if you clear these certifications, you will definitely get more job opportunities, because AWS is one of the most popular cloud services, and you can negotiate for better salary as well. In long run, your salary ranges will be higher. You will be exposed to better roles. You can become an architect very easily because you have the present credentials and rapport. And this also helps if you are looking to become an independent consultant or freelancer, then it will help you to start your own initiatives and ventures and do independent consulting to different businesses. Awesome.
Right.
So in short, cloud certifications opens the door for you to become an architect. So in big organizations as well as a freelancer. So this is concluding slide. So this, any closing remarks you can share?
Yeah, that is a very good, great line. It's not about developing the mind. It's about developing the mindset of an architect. It's about developing how well you frame your application, how resilient you frame your application. Like how, what I can say, how high available is your application, even if there is a high load. Everyone sees IPL as of now. See how Hotstar has built the application. So that's something which is giving an example, which is setting an example to other competitors.
Awesome. Great. So this brings us to the end of this session. So there was lots of concepts which we covered. We not only talked about the preparation strategies, but we also covered about various core AWS certifications, and we will be continuing to give similar sessions. If you have any queries, if you are not able to think of them right now, no problem. You can post them as comments, and you can subscribe to our channel. So yeah, Ankit, you have a channel which is Golden Jacket Cloud. Yeah, go ahead. You can share about that.
Yeah, it's Cloud with Golden Jacket. So yeah.
Sure. So yeah, I'll share about that channel also in the comments. And this channel where you are watching is Dev Skills. Here we bring content which is related to system design, behavioral interviews, and various software development tips. So thanks for watching. Have a nice Sunday ahead. Same to you, Ankit. And it was a great session, very insightful, and very glad to have you on this forum again. So wish you all the best.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you all the much. Pleasure.
And yes, all the best to all our viewers who are preparing for the exam or who are about to clear this exam. Wish you success. See you. Bye.